dream I know, deep up my feelings for you. Watch.
Hello reality viewers, welcome back again to Reality Latest Gist, the home of news and politics. For this channel, we dey drop news every day and we dey react to every videos wey comes our way. And na reality news now we dey drop for this channel, and we dey also dey talk am as e be. If today na the first time we say you dey come across this channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are returning subscribers, I appreciate all of una for una massive support to this channel. I say may God bless all of una in Jesus name, amen. I get video wey I want present to una this very moment, and I go dey follow una dey watch the video. After we don watch am together, make we drop our opinion constructively for the comment section. Like our videos and also share our videos if possible. Bye for now.
Still talking about President Bola Tinubu's ministerial list, and joining me live from Kaduna is the former lawmaker, author, and civil society activist, Senator Sèŕìøùśly. Good to see you, and thanks for your time. Well, you've also gone on social media to give a tiny bit of what you thought this was about. But again, too little, too late, but finally it made the deadline. Let us in on what you think about the list so far of 28 nominees.
Thank you for having me in your program. Well, when President Ahmed Bola Tinubu took over office, there appeared to be a lot of expectations, great expectations from Nigerians, based on what he pledged and what he promised. And the expectations has it that there is going to be a clean break from the past, and that people who will make up his team will be men whose assets is simply competence. But from the list we have seen, and from the moment it has taken the government to come out with the list, it appears to be he was in a sort of a dilemma for the fact that he had the plans of having competent men in office, and at the same time he was compelled to look at the fact that there were people who, in quote, supported him to be in office. Now, in all honesty, I don't know all of those who were mentioned, but from my own assessment is that the list is more of an attempt to please or appease a certain political cluster, or to favor people for simply being simply have worked for him in office rather than their own capacity and competence. I can vouch for some of them. For example, the nominee from Bauchi State, Professor Pati, was a man who was capable, who has proven himself over the years to have excelled in the areas of health. But with the nomination which you have seen, the one that represented Kaduna State National Rufai, is a tragedy. That such a man is given an opportunity again to serve this country with all that he has done and all that he has said in office. And I don't think, if President Tinubu mean well, it is not the best time to please and appease former governors. It's the best time to appease the Nigerians and to bring in competent hands that will deliver. As far as I'm concerned, that list, to some large extent, is a big disappointment. It is none that has been able to meet the expectation of taking the time which it has taken for those names to come out. So I think the best thing for the president to do at this time, he should know that the 8 years of this last administration was a complete waste, and that this is an opportunity for him to prove that he has the vision, the competence, and the capacity to lead this country to a higher level than the way he had met it. But with the kind of people whom he has now brought in close to him, I think there is going to be a problem. For what I know, is that there are people who were brought in because they betrayed their party and betrayed their principle, and now this is the time to compensate them. And that should not be with a serious national position like this. And I thought the president, being a man that has a history of bringing the best to preside over affairs of governance, as he was able to do in Lagos State, many people were expecting that that should be the case in the country, but to a large extent it is not.
If you allow me, you have also tweeted specifically, quote, "The president appointed people who betrayed others and hoping that they will be faithful, loyal, and honest to him, and they will serve Nigeria with all their strength." So looking at the list categorically speaking, it's a list of well-known Nigerians. So there's hardly anyone who's not been tried before. So what do you mean when you talk about betrayed others?
Well, I've seen people who are not from his own political party, but they have always been applauded and praised for betraying their party, and now their 30 pieces of silver is the appointment they have in the office of the ministerial office. Specifically, I'm more concerned about the one that comes from Kaduna State. Nasiru El-Rufai has been a man who has served Obasanjo and stabbed him in the back. He also was the one who claimed to be a loyal to Buhari and served him when he was out of office. I believe that that will also happen to Tinubu when things go the other way. And secondly, bringing such a person into government, what I know that he is going to be a seed of discord between the president and the vice president. He's also going to plant a seed of discord between the president and cabinet members. He's also going to be the source of crisis between the president and people who are outside his cabinet. And this should be marked, this should be bookmarked, this should be kept, and it is going to happen. So for also a person who has presided over the affairs of Kaduna State with such bigotry and religious iniquity and injustice against people who are not from his faith, I don't think that person deserves a place in anywhere in government in Nigeria. That is for that. And generally, I will say that as far as the president is concerned, when it comes to the issue of getting things right in Nigeria, and he must ensure that whoever is going to be there, first of all, has the vision, the capacity, the competence, and the general acceptability on the side of Nigerians. And this is a key, knowing where we come from. We come from a past where the president has appointed people who served for 8 years and delivered nothing, and he was unable to remove them because he felt they should be appeased because they supported him in office. And I think if Tinubu tried to lay the foundation of his government on this thinking, certainly it's going to fail like the way Buhari failed.
You know, speaking of a man many would say well known to you and by you, and also from your home state of Kaduna, and you're already giving some kind of doomsday prediction that he would be a cog in the wheel of progress of the Tinubu administration. Specifically, some will say this is about some bad blood you've had, politically speaking, with the former governor of your state.
Well, he has always spoken bad about me, and I also speak my own mind about him. But I have my own very proofs. Was he not a minister under Obasanjo administration? What happened between Obasanjo and Atiku? Was he not a minister at that very time? What happened? So it's going to be the same thing. If you see any discord between President Tinubu and Shetima, it's going to be the same person that will plan that discord. If you see any discord between the president and his members of the cabinet, it's going to be the same person. If you see any discord between the president and the state governors, he's still going to be the same person. He has that history and that track record. And I am saying it this is not a prophecy, but it's a proven fact that has happened. So, and a leopard never changes its skin. So for that, I'm saying they have brought in a serpent in their government, and they are going to pay a price for it. He has no permanent loyalty. He is a man who, fair weather person who is going to be with you. The same person who has sung the praises of Obasanjo. When Obasanjo was out of power, he turned against him. The same person who for 8 years has been singing the praises of Buhari. The moment Buhari was out of power, he simply abandoned him. So it's going to happen with Tinubu. But I know that as far as President Tinubu is concerned, he has been an old horse in the struggle and been in trenches. Perhaps it's going to be his own time to have his own share of the venom of the same person I'm talking about. So I'm not talking about him because of what is happening between me and him over the years, but I have my proven facts, and they will come to see. He is not going to, whatever ministry you kept him, is not going to stay there. He's going to prognose into the activities of all others, and also try to get the ears of the president and sow the seed of discord. If you see any problem between Kashmir Shettima and Tinubu, it's going to be the same person that will plant it. And mark this word, if you see any problem between Tinubu and any other person in the cabinet, it's going to be the same person. He has that history. So I am not saying it because of my own view, but the history has always been there for anybody to see. So to me, all I will say is to President Tinubu, whoever you appoint to office, let it not be like the Buhari administration where you are appointed into office and given a certificate of 8 years. If a person failed to live up to expectation, do not waste time in replacing him with somebody.
Let me quickly comment here, Senator Sani. You've already given, a word to the president on this. But again, you also said that the list is also made up of some people who are not members of the president's political party.
Yes, of course. The governor of Rivers State is not a member of the political party, but he is compensated for supporting Tinubu to office. I don't have any problem with that. I think that is his own idea. But what I believe is that it's like marrying a woman who has been unfaithful to someone, hoping that she's going to be faithful to you. So if you are bringing someone who has betrayed another person, hoping that he's going to be faithful, loyal, and honest to you, as our national pledge says, and also is going to serve the country with all his strength, well, all we can say is to conclude and say, so help you God. But as far as I'm concerned, I think Tinubu will have done better than the list which he is portrayed. But for the fact that ministerial appointment is not permanent for 8 years or 4 years, I believe that the colors of those whom he has now enlisted as his ministers is going to be out, and then he will have a decision on what to do as far as they are concerned.
Once a senator, always a senator. Let us in on what you expect from your colleagues in the 10th Assembly to do from Monday as they, embark on screening.
Well, I don't expect them to do anything differently. The ruling party dominates the National Assembly, and I don't think they can disqualify any person. So far, they are going to present themselves for screening, and from the indications I've seen, many of them are going to scale through, except if there are security reports that are attached to their own CV that says otherwise. But in all honesty, I believe that is what's going to happen. But it is also the time for the opposition members, the PDP, the Labour Party, and APGA, to do the needful to ensure that those people who are going to appear before them are grilled. And for the fact that challenges are things that we face as a country today, if you're going to be a minister of housing, you should convince the National Assembly that you are experienced in that field. It's going to be the Minister of Power, Minister of Aviation, Minister of Works. There should be specific question for which you're going to convince the legislators that you are capable of holding such positions is very necessary. During our time, we simply ask general questions, but I believe that this time around, they will have specific questions for every of these nominees, and they should be able to use their own wisdom and the courage to know that each person they have approved for him to be a minister of a country should know that the fate of the country hangs on his shoulder and he must deliver. So it is a screening time is one of the most important segments in the spectrum of governance, and they should do all they can. But I don't think, from what I have studied at a distance, that they can do a lot in terms of disqualifying them, but they should try and do their best.
Do you think that they will not be able to do more than expected?
The ruling party dominates both the Senate and the House of Reps. And even though it's the Senate that does the screening, the votes will usually be those who say yes or no. And most likely, my friend, the Senate President Fabio, is going to approve most of them. At least the government is new and the people who are coming in are mostly from the ruling party. But I believe that there will still be an uproar as of one or two of these nominees. And it's likely going to come from the opposition party. The Labour and the PDP will certainly raise objection on some few of them. But at the end of the day, the Senate President is most likely going to overrule them.
Well, looking at the critical needs of Nigeria, are there names you think should be given some specific portfolios on the day?
Well, as far as I can see, I've seen all the names, and then I believe that the DSS and other security agencies have done their work diligently. Until the portfolios are being attached before one can say one can do this or not. But one which I can vouch for is the nominee from Bauchi State Party, whom I believe has been a man who has excelled both nationally and globally, and he has a lot to deliver. And others, I also have, they have their own track records, but until their names are attached to their portfolios, then you will know whether they can deliver or not. In all honesty, Wike, even though he has turned against our party, he is one who has also performed very well in areas of infrastructure in the state. So I believe that he has something to deliver to the government. But in general terms, I can see other issues that are likely going to come up from the opposition side. So expect very little questions from the ruling party at the National Assembly, but from the opposition side, certainly they are going to raise issues, and I believe that they have loaded their gun waiting for that day.
And are you excited about the seeming, increase in women's inclusion in the cabinet?
Well, the Beijing Declaration made it very clear that it should be 35%, and I think until that is met, if not, we're still not different from where we come from. There should be serious participation of women and young people, and many people thought that President Tinubu, being a talent hunter, one that has brought people from obscurity, and because of what they have as talents and brought them to the position of prominence, many people thought it's going to be the same thing. Nigerians thought that they will see fresh faces, and people who are being pointed, detected, and brought out because of specific achievement which they have done, and they are fresh in the eyes of the public. But you see people in their 60s, 70s, still brought into government. It seems that we are still within that problem which you have had in the past. Nobody, most of those are supposed to have been in this cabinet supposed to be people younger than 50, and I think that could have been the best for the country and also the best for his government. He will have had the opportunity to provide, give them the platform to also prove their worth. But it's still people who were once ministers brought in as ministers, people who were once senators brought in as ministers, people who were once governors still brought in as ministers. So you can see that it's still the same cycle going on, hoping that we are still bringing the same people thinking that they will do something differently. We are where we are today because all those who have held executive positions in this country, position of power and authority, have failed. And we are still bringing them back again. What ideas do they have that they have not been able to use it for us to move from where we are? Nigeria is facing a serious economic and security and even political challenges. So it's thought that this government will be that will be mostly populated by younger generation, but that is simply not the case.
Senator Sèériøùśly, many thanks for your time. Well, that's it for this edition of...
So if you did right, wanna still leave on a comment below. If you did bad, wanna still leave on a comment below. Wanna remember, say everybody gets freedom of speech. Okay? Alright. Thank you very much.